Good morning and good afternoon to everyone. Depends on where are you placed. So I'm here in Cyprus, so we're like it's 2 o'clock over here, 2 o'clock, so lunchtime. I'm Andria. So for those that they have never attended one of our webinars, I'm Andria, market analyst here in HFM for nearly 6 years now, and in the industry nearly 10 years now. I'm getting old, apparently. So yeah, guys, today more of a technical webinar going through indicators and more precisely ADX. We're going to see a bit of a parabolic SAR as well, but the main one is ADX for the day. So yeah, very straightforward a webinar, very straightforward indicator. So stick with me if you're interested to see how this indicator works and how you can use it on your benefit, whether you can adjust it on your own trading system or not. So before I start, as usual, I need to go through the disclaimer, warning, etc. Over here, as I keep saying, please let me know, stick on the question box that we have. Can't use what George is not a live analysis. This session is not a live analysis. I'm gonna go through my slides. It's not a live analysis. Yeah, we are trying in the live analysis that we're doing in Facebook and YouTube. We're trying to use white backgrounds. Excuse me if sometimes I forget. Yeah, but yeah, the webinar today is we're gonna use slides. We're gonna use my PowerPoint slides for today's webinar. You can find my slides in the handout section. Okay, in the handout section you can download my slides. What does the hand picture? Oh, that is if you want. Oh, the hand. If you want to raise your hand because you want to say something and etc. I think this is what it is. To be honest, yeah, if you want to just raise your hand in order for me to see that you want to share something with us. But anyway, you can share anything you need in the question box. So yeah, I can see that. Oh, Alfonsi raised his hand for just a second. Who else? So if you want to share something, my dear Alfonsi, let me know. Stick it on the question box, okay? Yeah, so this webinar is recorded, so you're gonna receive a recording either late today or tomorrow, the latest, okay? Sorry. If you need any help, not only about ADX, not only about webinars, if you're struggling with anything, send us an email at webinars@hfm.com, okay? Take a screenshot of your chart, whatever you need, we are here to help. Me, Stuart, the team is here to help. So if you're struggling with anything, just let us know, okay? And we'll do our best to help you. Yeah, so I'm gonna go through the disclaimer warning, and we can officially start once I'm reading out loud the disclaimer. These materials provide general marketing communication for information purposes only and does not constitute an independent investment research. Nothing in this communication contains or should be considered as containing an investment advice or an investment recommendation or a solicitation for the purpose of buying or selling of any financial instrument. All information provided is gathered from reputable sources and I'm lost. Where am I? And any information containing an indication of past performance is not a guarantee or reliable indicator of future performance. Users acknowledge that any investment in leveraged products is characterized by a certain degree of uncertainty, and then any investment of this nature involves a high level of risk for which the users are solely responsible and liable. We assume no liability for any loss arising from any investment made based on the information provided in this communication. This communication must not be reproduced or further distributed without our prior written permission. Risk warning: trading leveraged products such as forex and derivatives may not be suitable for all investors as they carry a high degree of risk to your capital. Please ensure that you fully understand the risks involved, take into account your investment objectives and level of experience before trading, and if necessary, seek independent advice. Please read the full disclosure on our website. We have all the legal documentation that you might need from us, so feel free to find them in our website. Okay, guys? So, time to start. Okay, I'm gonna skip myself. Okay, let's move on. What we're gonna cover today: ADX, obviously, what it is, how it can be used, different periods in the settings, whether it works or not. So we're going to go through the advantages and disadvantages that it has, divergence using ADX, and if we have the time, we're going to see a merge, a combination of ADX with parabolic SAR. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on parabolic SAR because they're very straightforward, but I want preferably to manage to actually show you a combination of ADX with parabolic SAR. And of course, if there is time, we're going to reply to any questions that you have. Anyway, if you have any questions, just interrupt me and I will reply and solve your query on spot. So let's start. Anyone is using ADX, by the way? Just out of curiosity, nothing else. So a bit of a history, very, very briefly, because I don't want to waste your time on the history. Just to simply mention that ADX is a trending indicator, so it helps you guys identify the trend, the strength of the trend. You know, the stronger the trend is, the longer will last. So that's this is what ADX is presenting. Developed by Wilders-Winter back in okay, Steve is using it. Perfect. How is your experience so far using it? Helpful, not, neutral, 50-50? What do you think? Like it, not? Just share your thoughts with us. So it was created back in 1978 by Wilders-Winter. Wellers created a lot of other indicators, so this is one of them. He used it because he actually created, because he wanted to find a tool for trading commodities. So he was a commodity trader mainly. So he was trying to find something that will help him with commodities. ADX cannot solely be used for commodities nowadays. It's a technical indicator that can be used in every single asset class. Okay, I said over here that it was designed for commodities, but you shouldn't worry about it because it can be applied in stock market, it can be applied in currency market as well. So as long as you confirm before you use it, you confirm that it gives you reasonable signals. If it doesn't give you reasonable signals, then you should try different settings, and if it still doesn't give you reasonable signals, then don't use it for that particular asset. Okay, this is my advice for any indicator. It doesn't mean that by applying indicators to all of your assets, they will just satisfy and they will give you reliable signals. You need to test it. Always test before use. Always go backwards and check. Does it give me signals? Does it give me information? If not, change settings. If still doesn't satisfy and doesn't give you sufficient alerts, then it might not be appropriate for that particular asset or that particular time frame that you're trading. Okay, easy peasy. If you cannot see it, don't use it. Okay, like Stuart said, if you cannot see it, don't trade it. So if there is an indicator that doesn't make sense to you, or it doesn't give you some alerts, that it doesn't satisfy your chart or your time frame, don't use it. I'm still kind of okay. Steve is saying that it's very useful for him, but also he's struggling to understand, or no, kind of confused about the minus DMI. So can you please expand on it for me? Of course. Okay. I'm gonna run to get rid of the history, so we can go straight to the explanations. So yeah, as we said, as a trending indicator, so it helps you to quantify the trend strength regardless of the direction of the trend. Okay, so it's non-directional. Okay, what you see over here, so this is how it looks like. Okay, what you see is not the direction of the trend. So I want to be very, very clear about it. If you're seeing your lines, and mainly the blue one is the main one, the other two are standard deviation, are the sorry are the directional movements, the minus one and the plus one. I will explain what they are, I will explain later on, but the main one, the main line, the ADX line, is the blue one. If it points upwards, it doesn't mean that your trend is going up, or if it pointing downwards, it doesn't mean that it is going down. So I want you to be very, very, very careful, because if ADX is going up or down, it doesn't mean that it shows direction. It's a non-directional indicator. It doesn't show direction, it shows strength. So if your asset has been in an uptrend for a while, then what you will try to find out from the ADX is whether this uptrend is still strong. Because if it's still strong, it means that it will last longer. If the strength has lost and is getting weak, that means that it will soonish reverse. Okay, so don't try to find from ADX a direction. No, only strength. Only strength. So let's take it one by one. It's called ADX because it's the abbreviation of Average Directional Index. This is the full name of ADX. Objective is to identify the strength of the trend. So it is combined by 3 lines, as you can see. Okay, my chart, I chose the blue, red, and the green, and I think this is by default, but I'm not really sure for that. But I have these 3 lines on. Let me actually check, and I will change that to white template, since I promised it to George earlier. So here is a white line. Let's put on the ADX. So where is it? My ADX. Okay, expand everything. Drag and drop. Okay, by default in MT4, sorry, this is my MT4, is with green lines, but you see they are very, very faded, so I'm gonna change them, because for me it's not visible. I want them to be more easy for me to see them, so I'm gonna make that thicker. Okay, I'm gonna make that one, sorry, again, so I will make them a bit bold, because I want them, I want to see them, I want to be able to see them. Actually, no, I will keep the dotted one, but we'll change the color, so will be so I'm gonna put with sorry, with the plus one with green, but darker green because, yeah, and with the -1 with red, and I will change the main line into in blue just to be able, okay, much better, I think, right? Don't you agree? Okay, so the plus DI directional index is with green, the minus DI is with red, and the ADX line it's with, so the true, the blue line is the average true range. Okay, so as I said, it is combined by 3 lines. Okay, so what each of these lines mean? Okay, first of all, we have, okay, let's take a step backwards. Okay, we have the blue, okay, we have the ADX line, the average, so we have the average true range line, and the DMI lines, so 2 directional movement indicators. Okay, used as well, so combination of 3 lines. This is the group of directional movement indicators. Now, what each one of those means, okay, I haven't really put on how they are calculated, but what you should know is that in order Mr. Wilter to identify, to find over time a way to confirm the continuation or the potential reversal of a trend, he used this indicator, as I said, the average directional index indicator. So the way that he figured out how to create this indicator is by using the average true range, and then to use the minus and the plus directional movement, which are indicators as well. So, oops. Let me. Sorry. Just a second. Okay, so you don't really need to know the maths behind this indicator, how these lines are being calculated and etc. What you should just remember is that it's a non-directional index. It shows the strength of the trend. It is ranged from 0 to 100. Okay, and what we should focus on is to monitor, first of all, whether our lines are above or below the 25 or the 50 level, and also whether there are any bullish or bearish crosses between the minus DI and the plus DI. Okay, this is what will give us it give us some indications. So let's focus a bit on this table. The ADX, as I said, is plotted. Okay, it's plotted from 0 to 100. So the very first thing that you need to monitor is to see whether your single line, okay, so this one, let me go a step backwards. In this case is the blue, the main average true range line, not the DI lines, the main one, whether it is above 25 or above 50 and etc. Because this is the very first indication whether we have a weak trend, a strong trend, a very strong trend, or an overextended trend with the possibility of reversing. So that's the very first thing that you need to figure out. So the values, the scale of these indicators are very important in order to distinguish whether our asset is trending initially or not trending, and then to figure out the strength, as we said. So anything above 25, it implies that we have a trend and we don't have our market is trending and not ranging or something. Anything above 25. Now, if there is no trend, then ADX will be below 25. Okay. Now, to figure out whether it's a strong one or overextended one, then we consider that a reading from 25 up to 75 implies that the trend is strong. But if the ADX, cross 75 and it keeps rising, then that considered as an overextended trend. So that trend is at its peak. So when a trend or an asset is at its peak, there is a big risk of having a correction, a pullback, a reversal, because it's overextended, either over bought or oversold. Depends whether it's in an upwards trend or a downwards trend. Okay. Yes. Okay. So I want to really focus on the ADX line first, and then to move on to the plus and minus DI lines. So okay. So let's see. So let's see. The very first thing that you need to check is where your main line, the ADX line, is. Okay. So let's take, for example, I don't know, here. Okay, here I could see that my ADX line, it was consolidating around 25 for a long time, but now it started moving and pointing away from the 25 and upwards. So that implies that we have a strong trend. Now, is it an uptrend? Is it a downtrend? So to figure out the direction of the trend, you need to obviously check your chart. So over here, I could see that the asset is already in a downtrend for many days now. So we have a strong downtrend. Okay. Now let's check. Let's check the other two lines, the minus DI directional index and the plus DI line. And at this point, I need to explain what these lines are for. The DI lines or DMI lines, it means the same thing, okay? Sometimes you might see it DMI, sometimes you see them DI. It doesn't matter, it's the same thing. Directional index is their name. Okay, so these two lines are the ones that best time frame for intraday. We're gonna see that in a minute, Kumar, okay? But again, depends on the asset. So the DMI lines are the ones that will give you more information regarding the asset that you are looking at. So when the plus DI line is greater than the minus DI line, so in this case over here, okay, let me figure out, okay, over here, for example, okay, the plus DI line is above the minus DI line. So the plus DI is with green, the minus DI line is with red over here. So in this case, where the plus is above the minus, means that the bulls have the directional edge. Okay, so these are the ones that it give us direction. This along with our chart. If the minus DI line is above the plus DI line, like in the case here, then it means that the bears are in control. So the sellers are in control. So as with all technical trends, you should use several indicators to confirm a movement. So you might want to use, along with the ADX, you might want to use parabolic SAR, or you might want to use your fractal. So you might want to use MACD, or you might want to use RSI. That's up to you. But in order to confirm and just feel that you're right, I mean, to be sure what you're doing, it's good to combine it with at least one indicator, one more indicator. So let me clear a bit these lines that I had over here. And let me explain why it's important to check all three lines. To check the plus and minus DI ones, then the ADX, or first the ADX and then the DI lines and the direction of the ADX as well. So you need to check, always check three things: direction of the DI lines, whether they are bullishly cross or bearishly cross, where the ADX is, the value of the ADX, and where it does it point. Okay. So let's show an example. Okay. Over here, for example, when our ADX, we had already spot that our asset is moving lower, right? It's in a downtrend. But the ADX, it was at 25, so we didn't have a strong indication whether the trend is still on or not. Indication came somewhere here, where ADX started to point upwards and moved above 25 and keeps pointing upwards. So somewhere over here, the indication came that our trend is getting stronger, right? So at that point over here, where we have already an existing downtrend, ADX is moving higher and above 25, and it points higher as well. And our so indication number one, indication number two, and now we need to check the DI lines. The DI line over here, we have the minus DI line above the plus DI line. Okay, that means that the prices moving down. ADX measures downtrend. So at this point, since all of our tools are in line, they agree, okay, then here is when you can enter the market short, okay, because there is a direction by checking our chart, consecutive down candles with lower highs, lower lows. The plus and minus DI lines show that we have that the prices are moving down. The ADX showed that we have a strong downtrend. Okay, so parabolic SAR are also bearish. Remember that if parabolic SARs are above the price, that's bearish. So our price action is moving below all moving averages, below my 50 and 20 moving average. So everything agrees. So this is where you can enter the market short. You can sell. Now let's see a buying option. So if at some point we see the plus DI line to turn higher than the minus DI line, and that happened over here. Over here, we had seen that suddenly the plus DI line moved above the minus DI line, and this is a bullish signal. Okay, and actually at that point, when we saw that, actually over here, somewhere here, we saw that the plus DI confirmed to be above minus DI line and with expanding as well. The blue line, the ADX line, was above 25 but falling. So there was a big question mark. Is it gonna was this just a near-term bounce? Will we have a new trend or not? So the confirmation pretty much came over here, somewhere here, because sorry, I cannot do a straight line, but over here the ADX started pointing higher. So we need, this was the indication that our trend, our now uptrend is getting stronger. Plus DI and minus DI, the plus DI is above minus DI. We had a big rally already. So it was an indication that we can enter this rally because it will last longer. You can say, but Andrea, you didn't catch the trend from the beginning. That's fine, because I wanted to be sure. If you want to enter the market as soon as you see a crossing of the DI lines, that's up to you, okay? And even though that's a bit risky, because you need to, if you decide to do something like that, with even though the ADX line was falling, but you still want to go long because you've seen this cross, then you should do an appropriate risk management, okay? Setting your stop at the appropriate level in order not to suffer major losses. But yeah, that's only up to you. Yeah. What else I wanted to say? So yeah, that's a bullish example. So we're already in a rally, and over here the fact that the ADX started pointing upwards again, it was an indication that we can jump in this rally because it will last longer. And indeed, as you can see, it was keep rising and rising for days and days. There was a bit of a correction, but it was still in a strong trend. Appreciated a lot. Now I'm seeing some questions. Hope we can get the PDF stuff. Emmanuel, the PDF is on the handout section, so you can download it now, actually. Let me know if you cannot find it, okay? Good question, Nathaniel. Very good question. So Nathaniel is saying, do the DI lines have to be above the 25 line to be considered bullish? Not necessarily, no. The range is for the ADX line, not for the DI lines. The DI lines, you need to, what you should monitor in regards to the DI lines is whether which one is above the other, and whether the gap that they have is getting wider and wider and wider, because the wider it gets, the longer your trend will last, okay? Is that clear, dear Nathaniel? Did I reply to your question? So I will wait for Nathaniel's reply. Now, getting back to Steve's question. Okay, Steve question. I read that the minus DI line is counter-directional. So the higher it goes, the lower the price goes. Okay, I partially agree with this explanation. Obviously, okay, let me clear a bit this mess. Erase everything. Okay, so you said that you read somewhere that the higher the minus DI lines goes, the lower the price goes. I partially agree. Why I'm saying that? Yes, indeed, that if we are in a downtrend, okay, if we are in a downtrend, okay, keep carefully hear what I said. If we are in a downtrend, okay, and we can see if I connect the you can see that the minus DI was getting higher and higher and higher, and indeed my price action was moving lower and lower and lower. But that was also okay because the ADX line was moving higher as well, so we had a strong trend. Okay, and I will give you another example. Over here, my minus ADX was going higher and higher, but we weren't in a downtrend, we were in an uptrend. So that statement stands only if you are in a downtrend and your ADX line is getting higher as well, implying to a very, very strong trend, because you can see the minus DI line getting higher and higher even if you are in an uptrend. Okay, so it's partially that statement is incomplete. You can say that the minus DI it gets, the higher it goes, the lower the price goes if you are in a strong downtrend. Okay, let me know, Steve, if it's clear now. Okay, oh, that's a tricky question, Habib. How can we set up the indicator on Android phone? I have no idea. I don't like the mobile MT4, but if you're using our app, then it's much easier. If you're using our app, so can you clarify first of all what are you using in your mobile phone, in your Android phone? Are you using the MT4 application or HFM application for trading? Because I don't know if you have the MT4 application, I don't know how to help you. If you have the HFM application, yes, I do, then I know how to help you. Emmanuel has the MT5. Guys, I have never downloaded the MT4 and MT5 on my mobile phone, so I have it only on my desktop. I found it easier. So I cannot really help you on that. If it was the new HFM application in which you can now trade from your mobile phone, then yes, we have a tab called indicators. You select the indicator that you wish, and it's been applied automatically on your platform. But with MT4, MT5, I'm sorry, I cannot help. Support team might be able to help you, so please send them in the chat, or yeah, in the chat, in the 24/5 chat we have with them, or via email. They will be able to help you. Okay, I'm sorry for that. So Steve, was it clear? My explanation was clear to you? Do you want me to get it more in depth? Okay, Mombadi is trying to help you, Habib and Emmanuel. He's saying that to find on MT5, you can go to the F sign or simple, and I guess you can see it, Mombadi, over there. You're referring to mobile phones, right? Not in the desktop, because for the desktop I can show you how it's under the trend indicator, average directional movement average. So Habib, Emmanuel, Mombadi is trying to help you guys. So he's saying it's under that you need to click on the F simple, F. Okay, on the F sign, F simple, and you can see it over there. I have seen it. Okay, cool. Thank you for your help, Mombadi. Thank you very, very much. I have no idea about the mobile version. of MT4 and MT5. Yeah, so let's move on. So just a bit of a summary, okay? Bit of a summary. ADX line. So the value of ADX line and whether it's pointing up or down will help you to read the trend strength, okay? First thing. So when the ADX is above 25 and rising, okay, then you have a strong trend. So, okay, so for figuring out the direction of the trend now, you need to firstly check your candles, okay, your chart, and then you need to check your DI lines, okay? So if your DI lines are bullishly crossed, so the plus DI is above the minus DI, then you have so if your plus DI is above the minus DI and your ADX is rising above 25, then you are in a strong uptrend. If your DI lines, the minus DI, is above the plus DI, and at the same time your ADX is rising higher, then you have a strong downtrend. But again, I'm clarifying, you need to also check your candles, to check your charts. Do you have consecutive higher highs and higher lows? Do you have consecutive lower lows and lower highs? So, okay, that's a confirmation in regards to whether your asset is going up or down or consolidating. A common mistake is that, and I would like Steve's attention. Wait, okay, Steve is saying that my problem is that if the minus DI line is above the plus DI line, yes, but at the same time, the minus DI line is counter directional, which your chart seems to agree with. Yes, are you still typing? Yeah, but help us. What the ADX is showing. So you're saying that your chart is going down, your DI is above DMI plus DMI, so it also shows down, but what your ADX is showing, everything matters, Steve. They cannot stand alone. The DI lines cannot stand alone. But I'm trying to understand where you're struggling, so it will help me if you give me the full picture. Habib, it can be applied in every single time frame. The only thing that you need to check is whether it satisfies your asset and your time frame. So for example, okay, over here I have daily time frame, but I need to monitor, okay, over here I had a downtrend. Did it give me a correct signal? So it gave me a signal, but later on over here, which it was still good because indeed the asset continued to go down. Then over here, it didn't give me the upwards trend from the very beginning, but afterwards it confirmed somewhere here that I'm in a strong uptrend, so that was okay because okay. So you see, you need to test it. If you consider this setup a bit delay, then you can try lower time frame. So you can try and change the period into lower one to see whether it gives you better signals, okay, about the switches from an uptrend to a downtrend, etc. Okay, so you need to test it a bit. If you don't like the daily chart and you are a person that is trading 30 minutes chart, again, you need to test it and say, okay, over here I have the beginning of an uptrend. What does my ADX is showing me? Need to put my line at 25. This is what I do. 25 somewhere here. What I have over here, The plus DI is above the minus DI. The ADX is moving higher as well. So the signal came somewhere, no? The confirmation came somewhere here. So you see, we had the sharp ADX line pointing higher. The DI was anyway above minus DI, so the gap is getting wider. So that was a good entry point, because we also had a breakout of the latest up fractal over here. So that was a nice entry point. Okay. So it depends. You need to test it. Over here, I'm in sugar, 30 minutes chart with ADX at 10. So the ADX settings are detected it from 14 to 10. Okay, so you need to play a bit with it. Okay, I have confused Steve, I think. Sometimes, okay, one by one. Jonathan is saying that sometimes the three lines cluster together. Does this mean consolidation in price action? Depends where they are. Yes, they do mean consolidation, especially if they are around 25, 30 area, 20 area over there, from 20 to 30. If they're like over here, for example, I've seen a clash. So over here we had a clash, a bit of a clash or something. Initially, okay, the red one and the blue one was like, they were like going a line. And over here we had a clash here. Yeah, that, and it's below 25. So it means it's not, if they clash, okay, it means that, yes, there is a bit of an indecision. But if they clash, but they are above 25, there is a bit of indecision. It means that there is a bit of indecision in the near term, but we are still in a strong trend. But if they clash below and they are placed below 25, like in this case, then it means that we have a weak trend. Okay, so consolidation, weak trend. So you see, indeed, it was consolidating for some time. Consolidating, it bounced, then consolidating again. So there was not a clear bullish or bearish bias. So you should avoid this. You should wait until you have a confirmation. Once you have them pointing to a particular direction, to a stronger reading above 25, my dear Jonathan. Let me know if you need another example to understand. I'm getting back to Steve because I think he's still confused. When it comes to minus DI, it seems that the down is up and up is down. When it comes to minus DI, I want you, my dears, I'm not sure that I understand where you're struggling, but I don't want you to focus on the DI as such, on the minus DI as such. I want you always to think about it as a, not a combination. You cannot just focus only on the minus DI line and stick on where is it points, where is it pointing upwards or downwards, or is above 25 or 20 below 25. I want you to check all three lines together and in relationship with each other. So whether the DI line is above 25 or whether it's pointing up or whether it points down, it cannot stand alone. You need to check, okay, the minus DI line over here is pointing downwards. But is it above or is it below the minus plus DI? And where my DX is it above 25? It's below 25? Is it reversing? So the minus DI cannot stand alone. You need to always question yourself where your DI line is, the minus DI is, okay, whether it's above or below the plus DI, but also where your ADX line is. Because regardless of where the minus DI line is, or whether it points up or it points down, it's getting higher or lower. If okay, I'm going to give you another example. Regardless of whether the minus DI is moving higher or not, what matters is the direction of the asset and also the direction of the ADX. Are you sure? Are you sure? Okay, you know what? If you're still struggling, what I want you to do is give me an example to say, Andrea, I have, I don't know, gold right now in front of me at 30 minutes chart, and the ADX is confusing me. Can you explain? So if you have an example that you want me to check right now in front of everyone, feel free to tell me, because it will be good for the whole team over here. Because I guess you're not the only one that's struggling. I mean, obviously we need to practice, we need to see a lot of examples to get to comprehend more these indicators. So it would be good if you want to share something, and I will try to check it together right now. Okay, I will wait for your reply, Steve. Let's move on until Steve has an example for us, or any further question for us. Yes, Bobadi, yes. Because remember, okay, that's a brilliant example of ranging market. Okay, let's zoom in over here. All three lines are below 25, and they are like crossing each other all the time. Can you see that? Crossing over here, again crossing over here, crossing. So interacting with all the time, and they're all below 25. So that is pointing to a weak trend and indecision. Let me go up to see. Indeed, it was in a ranging market. If you want to trade a ranging market, yes, feel free to do it. If you have a system that you can actually use it for, that is precisely for trading a ranging market, that's fair enough. So it depends up to you, to be honest. So okay, there are still system strategies that in which you can use for ranging market. So if your asset is consolidating, so over here what's that? Is the compound cut weekly. Okay, that's too long. So we figure out, we have seen that there is a weak trend, a consolidation. So yes, indeed, this is what happened. So in this case, if you want to trade a ranging market, so you need to find the resistance, the upper trend line, the resistance line, the top line of the range, the bottom line of the range, and you might consider trading any bounce from the lower line or any reversal from the upper line. But that's up to you to decide. Okay, there are systems for ranging markets. So if you have spot with the help of ADX, a ranging market, then you can trade it by if you have a system that works for a ranging market. We have in the past showed a lot. So yeah, I think I really got it now. I'm glad, Steve. I'm glad. If not, again to everyone, this is for everyone, not only for Steve. If you're struggling, let me know right now. If you don't have an example to show me right now and to go through it together, that's fine. But once you have an example and that you don't understand, take a screenshot like I did over here, send it to me at webinars@hfm.com and say, Andrea, look at that. I've put ADX over here, this time frame, this asset, and this happened, and I don't understand it, why it moved that direction while it was whatever. Okay, let me know, and I will reply within the day. Okay, so now okay, here's obviously an example with low ADX, but is a sign, as we said, of accumulation or distribution. So we said that when ADX is below 25 for more than 30 bars, okay, that means that the price has entered a range conditions, consolidation. So okay, obviously over here we have a weekly chart. So I have spot that it was moving in a ranging market in the weekly chart. It was consolidating. So okay, that was something that it helped me to find some long-term resistance support levels. But in this case, you can go downwards. You can go to lower time frames, okay, in order to spot any entrance on the reversal from the upper line or any buying position from a bounce away from the bottom line. Okay, but that's a different topic. Yes, let's move on. What time is it as well? Okay, it's nearly okay. Okay, settings. By default, you can see that it's by default that 14 periods. But as I said, you need to scan, as we showed earlier. You need to check, okay, the 14 period one, does it, if I just go backwards, okay, I'll go backwards and check whether it gives me, whether it gives me some reliable or many reliable signals over here. So I detected it. Actually, let's stick to the 14 minutes one. So this is the default one, and I started to check. Did it spotted this, the start of this uptrend? Okay, it did spot it, so it was quite good. Now, if you want to okay, that was okay. On this pullback, it missed this pullback. It was a bit delay. Yeah, consolidate. So up, down. There is a lack of strength over here. So our trend got weaker. Okay, so it was ADX was pointing downwards. So we couldn't really take any decision over here because ADX was pointing lower. So that was an indication that the trend was getting weaker and weaker. You can still, this is still tradable if you want to trade on the possibility of a reversal, because if the ADX is getting lower and lower and pointing sharply to the downside, it means that we have a reversal. Okay, now over here we have this huge bounce, but ADX was still below 25, so it was a bit delay. Can you see that it was a bit delay? That's why I decided to detach my settings, because I want a faster. Let's see, is this a better setting? So sharply down, but didn't cross 25, then up. Okay, so it topped over here and then start slowing down, so it missed this extension higher. Can you see that? So it missed this resumption of the uptrend because it was getting low, ADX was getting lower. So that gives me some faster signals, but not a reliable one. So I will get it back from to 10, because that looked to be a better one for sugar in a 30 minutes chart. So let's see. So pull back, crossed a bit below 25, up again, up until here. Okay, it missed a bit over here, bounce, so held above 60 territory, and then the decline got sharper. Okay, suggesting that there is a lack of strength. Okay, so yeah, that looks to be. So let's move on and see. So down, remain weak. We had some bounce and then a pullback. Not so there is a descending triangles and a sharp bounce over here. So it got that. So over here, yes, ADX was started moving higher with plus DI above minus DI, both above the 25 territory. Keep pointing higher and pull back over here. Again up. So was posting some, if you can see that, it was posting some higher lows. The ADX indicator was posting some was posting some, come on, I will put it with green, was posting some higher lows. So that, okay, putting trend line and connecting your ADX points is also helpful because you see, it's in line with the trend of the asset. So any pullback like that will keep you in the position because it didn't fell further. So that implies that these are just corrections before another attempt to the upside. So, okay, pay a bit of attention over here, guys. Let me get rid of the rest of the indicators. So can you see that? ADX over here, turn above 25 and had some temporal pullback, some corrections. By connecting these, the lows of the ADX line, the blue line, okay, I have spotted that every time that the ADX is turning and retesting my trend line, this is just a correction of this long-term uptrend. So with this way, you can, every time that is rebounding from this trend line, it's an indication that there is a resumption, a continuation of the uptrend. Okay? You see that? Only when it finally crossed below it, it was an indication that it might start reversing. So the confirmation came once. So hint number one, when the ADX fell below my 2 weeks trend line. Hint number two, when the minus DI line, the minus DI line over here crossed above the plus DI line, and final confirmation came once the ADX fell below 25. But you see how many indications, how many alerts we had in advance before we finally the ADX fall below the 25, suggesting and confirming that there might be the start of a new era, of a new trend. Have you seen that? No, it's moving along, my dear Emmanuel. Okay. I'm not sure. I don't think. Let me double check. Okay, that's a good question. No, applied to the close price. Median. No, there is not a shift. No. So Emmanuel is saying that ADX. Could ADX move together? Does it move together with the candles? Yes, it does. Or ahead it, and can it be made to move ahead by settings? No, it cannot. There are not many indicators that they have a shift. So you want what the manual is asking is whether we can change the settings in a way that will give us that will be ahead of the time. No, it's not. One of the few indicators that they can move ahead of the time is moving average by having a shift, this shift option. Okay, but that's something else. Okay. Hello, I'm having issues downloading the PDF. Would you mind sending it via email? Okay, wait a minute. I don't mind, but let's try also. I will send you a link and let me know if you can download it from the link that I'm gonna send you right now. So give me a second, guys. Okay, I'm gonna send you a link, my dear Bruel. And hopefully, once you use this link, click on the link. Okay, click on the link and then click download, and that will be the slides. Okay. Can I confirm this with another indicator? Of course, always it's good to have another indicator. I mean, for everything. I don't know what's your setup, dear Nathaniel, but it's always to combine it with a second indicator. Okay, so it might be anything you want, anything that you use. MACD looks fine, moving average looks fine. Yeah, as I said, over here I have moving averages and I have my fractals as well. And I put some trend lines on as well to help me. Over here, my example was with the use of what is it, parabolic SAR along with ADX. So it's up to you. Yeah, okay, up to you, really, whatever makes sense to you. Yes, so yeah, if you see that your ADX doesn't give you nice signals, then play a bit with the settings, okay? Then if still doesn't give you some reliable signals, it means that is not a useful indicator for that particular asset in that particular time frame that you want to trade. Okay, be careful, as I showed earlier. If you set your time frame, that if you change the settings and you take them too low in order to give you fast signals, you need to make sure that it gives you accurate ones, because it might be proven a very, very inaccurate one. If you put the settings too high, okay, sometimes it might give you late signals. So test before using. And combine index with another indicator. And let's finish with the, okay, I'm not going to go through this because we already checked time frames. I would like just to show the ADX with divergence and also go through the disadvantage of ADX. So let's take it one by one. ADX and divergence. So if you spot, remember that before, I'll take that up again. Remember that by connecting the bottoms of my ADX with a line, it showed me that it's going up over here. So it was going up. And the same stands for my trend. My asset was moving up. So they were aligned, they were in agreement. So that's okay. But if you spot that your ADX is moving in a different direction from your from your asset, then this is called divergence. And I will take a step backwards. Remember, divergence is a warning that the trend momentum is changing. So if the price is posting higher highs, okay, but the ADX is posting lower highs, then this indicates that the uptrend is running out of steam and there is a possibility of a reversal lower in the future. If the price is doing lower lows and your ADX is posting some, okay, that's supposed to be, yeah, no, that's correct, sorry, my mistake, is posting lower highs as well, then that is an indication, sorry, that your downtrend is running out of steam, and you might have a potential bounce higher. Okay, so this is divergence. It's not a signal of reversal. It's just a very first sign that you might in the near future have a reversal. So it's the very first warning. Okay, there is no best time frame, Kumar. You can apply it in every single time frame, in every single asset, but make sure that the settings are appropriate. I cannot tell you what, it depends. Intraday trading is also 1 minute chart, is also 5 minute chart, is also 30 minute chart, is also 1 hour chart. All these time frames are called intraday trading. So it depends from your asset, from the time frame, and I cannot really remember what is satisfies what. You need to do what I did as well. I mean, open your chart. Over here I have Swiss yen 1 hour chart. I will apply my ADX and I will start checking. I will put the 25 line on my chart as well, bold one preferably, and I will go through it to check whether the default settings for the 14 period settings, or the default setting satisfy Swiss yen for 1 hour. So over here I was in a downtrend and the ADX, it crossed 25 initially here and then here, but then you see, it gives me some delay signals over here because I have some delay signals. So I'm gonna take it down to 10. Is it better? So it initially crossed 25 here. Okay, what I have, cross 25. Okay, cross 25, but we had a bullish trend instead. What do we have over here? Okay, let's see. Oh, sorry. It seems that neither 10 period, it looks okay. Okay, so it crossed over here. It didn't last there for long. It came back down, then it crossed over here, picked here, and they getting down, up, and here we had that a much better setting. Why? Because check firstly our chart. Our chart first. Okay, connecting the peaks, connecting the lows. So it started moving lower and consolidating as well. And over here, it was the very first time after a while in which the minus DI crossed above plus DI quite sharply. Okay, and over here, somewhere here, I had also the crossing of the ADX, actually the ADX pointing higher. Okay, so that was the very first indication that indeed the ADX is moving along with this downtrend. Okay, so it's not great for Swiss yen 1 hour chart. Let me see, picked, held above it, but came down to it, didn't move below 25, so that's a good sign. So it held above 25, picked again over here, and it crossed below 25 over here. So that was the end of the downtrend, the confirmed end of the downtrend. Was this a bit late? Yes, it was. So let's detract it even more. It seems that it doesn't really satisfy the Swiss yen. Let's make it 8. Let's see, is it better? Okay, topped over here, then started moving down, but held above 25. So we'll put a barrier over here. It held above 25 and then started rising. It still held above 25, topped over here, and it crossed the 25 here. Let's see. Sorry. Trying to figure out the best possible setting. If I cannot find one, then I'm not going to use Swiss yen with the ADX for Swiss yen. Okay, that's a better one. That's a much better one. So rising ADX. That's good. That's much better. Much better. Crossing above. So then came over here. Okay. So see, you need to test it, unfortunately. So as we went through the ADX for the Swiss yen 1 hour chart, I'm not convinced that is the indicator for this particular asset, this particular time frame. So if you cannot see it, don't use it. Okay? Simple as that. Yes, it does, Nathaniel. Yes, it does. That's why you need to always check, okay? Guys, I'm really run out of steam. It's 20 past. So I'm gonna quickly go through the risks and whether it works or not. Just briefly. As I said, it's a trending market. It's a trending indicator, so it can be used only for trending markets, not for ranging markets. It can show you whether your asset entered a ranging conditions, but it cannot. Is not useful for providing you further signals if your asset is ranging. Okay. Keep an eye on the settings. It's good to confirm, as we said, its information with other indicators just to gain more confirmation and more trust on your decision. ADX does not show you a direction. That's a big mistake, a very common mistake. It shows you strength. So you should initially search for trend direction by checking your charts initially and then your DI lines. So it's useful for if there is a trend, if it's getting stronger or weaker, and once whether a divergence occurs and there is a reversal possibility. So it's useful for these things. It's not useful for identify support and resistance levels or to time your position. Don't try to use any reversal of the ADX as as an exit point. No, don't try to time your position. Okay, it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. You cannot time your position or identify support resistance level using ADX. Okay. So we reached to the end of our webinar. If there is any question that you have, now is the time to stick it on the question box, okay? Otherwise, I'm gonna call it a date. This is a small recap in regards to the ADX. Trending indicator, which can be used to identify strength of the trend, is not directional, constructed by 3 lines. So steps that you need to follow is check where the ADX, what is the ADX value, above, below, low 25, where is it pointing, whether it's pointing up or down. So if it's above 25 and it's rising, then our trend is getting stronger. If it's below, if it's above ADX but it points downwards and crossed the 25 line, then that means that there is a weak trend. If the plus DI is above minus DI, but at the same time our chart is in an uptrend and the ADX is moving higher, then that's a confirmation that we have a strong uptrend. If the minus DI is above the plus DI, that's a very first indication that we are in a downtrend. If and only if our chart shows post some lower lows and the ADX value is rising as well, suggesting that the downtrend is still strong. So you see, you need to combine everything. You need to check your chart, first of all, the ADX value, and then the DI lines. We said about the settings, we said about the divergence, and that's pretty much it, guys. That's pretty much it. As a bonus, I have in the very next slides a combination of ADX with parabolic SAR, so I will leave it up to you. I mean, to read it on your once you're free to see this combination, but there is no time to cover it right now. So yeah, that was pretty much it. I can see that there are no further questions, so I will call it a day. Thank you very much for attending. For anything you need, I'm here to help. So don't forget to send me your questions at webinars@agfm.com email address. Thank you very much. Have a great day ahead and take care. Bye-bye. You're welcome. You're very welcome. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.